What's up, fam? This your boy Lee Black, the voice of TFG Ratchet and the host of Real Talk for Real Men. Let's talk about fashion choices, in particular when it comes to men. And so this story in particular is about Dwayne Wade, the NBA Hall of Famer, retired from the Miami Heat. And this is not about basketball. So let me be clear about that. On the basketball court, this man was probably one of the best guards to ever play the game. Rightfully so, he's in the Hall of Fame and should be. He deserves to be where he needs to be. Fantastic. I have nothing to say about this man. One of my favorite players on the court. Off the court, when we start talking about personal choices, that's where things can get interesting. Now, let me say for the record, personal choice is just that. But of course, we have opinions. And once you put yourself out there in the public eye, we have the right to be able to comment on it. That is what's happening here. Mace, as well as Cameron on their show, they pretty much had a pretty good laugh about some of the fashion choices that Dwayne Wade has been making recently. One in particular that caught their attention was the painting of his nails. And you see the picture up there. Look, Dwayne Wade's never been shy about making bold statements, stepping outside of the norm and dressing, dare I say, a little bit androgynous. And then when it comes to painting his nails, he went on to talk about why and how he began doing this. He talked about this a while ago, just in case you don't know, when he did an interview for, I think it was called High Snob Society magazine, something like that, where he talked about that he's always thought about painting his nails and started doing it back in 2007, I believe. And he told a story about how he got his fashion choices from his father, from his uncle, that they were always very fly, sharp dresses. And he always wanted to be that type of guy to make those bold choices. Well, he goes on to tell, the story a little bit more about how when he started painting his nails initially, they started with his toenails. And he details how it started because pretty much he had jacked up feet. And for those of you who know about basketball, they played their entire careers in these tight ass shoes running up and down the court. And yes, some of these brothers have some fucked up feet. Well, Dwayne talks about how that's how it kind of started. But then the fingernail painting, he kind of has some stories that don't quite match. On one hand, he talks about wanting to do this as a fashion choice, but then he went on to say that he got some of this inspiration from the greatest player who ever played the game, Michael Jordan. I want to read his quote. He said, "I stopped giving a fuck about what people have to say, and I just laid them joints out there like we are out here." Talking about painting his toes here. But they smashed me in the locker room, smashed. And then I got over that, and it was just a day of getting smashed and moved on. He goes on to detail how he ended up seeing Michael Jeffrey Jordan, wear clear nail polish on his hands, and that somehow inspired him to be able to have the courage to move forward to do this on his own. Now, look, folks, nobody can know what's going on inside somebody's head, and he could very well be telling the truth. What I question, though, is don't try to use another man's situation to kind of express that you're going through what I truly believe is a sexual identity crisis. And we're starting to see this thing happen more and more. Little Uzi Vert showing up at Coachella with all his femininity, Pharrell and some of these other cats, including Usher, showing up at some of these fashion shows and coming away from it and testing the waters by wearing dresses and blouses and purses, and Kanye West with all kinds of shit. Look, folks, cut the bullshit out. If you want to dress like a woman, just say that. Don't try to retroactively bring in the name of one of the greatest players to ever do it to try to justify the fact that you are going through a phase where you're expressing your feminine side. Just say that. If you're bold enough to wear this type of shit and you're bold enough to step out and defend your son, daughter, and say that, hey, world, look at us, then own it all the way. Don't bring other people's names into it. Don't tell us no bogus bullshit story about your feet. Just come out and say, I like painting my toenails and my nails. It makes me feel pretty. Whatever the fuck that is, just say that. Just own it. I just resent the fact that we're trying to emasculate men and trying to water down the fact that you motherfucker, are going through some identity crisis. You want to make these choices. So don't make it about anybody else. To be perfectly honest with you, some of the shit you wear is cool and some of this shit ain't. I myself, I'm a Neanderthal, you know, I'm a toxic male. Some of the shit that I see some of these people wear, you couldn't bury me in that shit. If you buried me in a red pants, tight fitting clothes, I'll come back and haunt every last one of you motherfuckers. So there's certain things I'm never going to wear, living or dead. But I own that. I own that level of toxic masculinity. And all I'm asking is that you do the same. If you want to suck a little dick, wear a little skirt, wear a little purse, get a little giddy up in your switch, just say that. It's 2024. We don't really give a fuck anymore. What you do behind closed doors and how you present yourself out in public is your choice. Just don't water this shit down. I'm Lee Black, and these are my opinions. Keep subscribing to the channel. Keep hitting your boy up. And of course, I'm going to keep the hits coming as long as I see fuckery and foolishness, and I'm going to call it out at every place. And I'm an equal opportunity offender, so there you go.